short.
Yeah.
There will be Istiantara, Hasan Basri. And if Hasan Basri come, Adil usually.
Oh, John Lee from Indy.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Raj.
How much time do we have? How much time do we have?
Tapi kenapa
A
dapat
lot of time or very, very short time?
dapat transjakarta nggak diundang siapa?
Dia mintanya langsung ke Bapak laporkan apa-apa yang kekurangan.
Nah, kenapa nggak pakai transjakarta supaya langsung? Biasanya itu kebiasaan begitu. Nah, saya bilang gitu kan. Kenapa?
Okay, but we don't want to take up a lot of your time, but we hope we can have you listen to some of our updated progress. We have two teams here. You've met before Tom, who is the leader of one of the teams. They're working directly with Transjakarta. Richard and Tori there are working in the other half of our program, which is to help DKI with the policy framework for the rest of the transport system.
That coffee.
So-
Coffee or tea? And coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea. Yeah, tea.
Copycat.
Yes.
So we've been working for a while, and it's time for me to give you an update, both about the diagnosis, the problems and issues that we think we face, and also about some suggestions for action. So maybe we could run through each in turn and then discuss.
You make a presentation or just talk like this?
We will wait to the
We thought it would be quicker for you, easier for you to look at this. Tom, do you want to kick off?
So thank you for your time again, Vice Governor. It's very good to be here. We thought we'd just go through the objectives and outputs of our program, which is about improving Transjakarta, its management capability, its operations, and its objective, which is to try and make Transjakarta a cost recovery organisation. We don't agree that we should continue to have to subsidise Transjakarta. $25 million or more every year. That's how much the government is paying. So the objective is to try and make Transjakarta an organisation that can cover its own costs on every year, a recurrent cost. To do that, we have to change the institution of Transjakarta. We need to make it a government corporation, and there is some government policy and intent for that. We also need to prepare a proper investment plan for Transjakarta and also a proper business plan for Transjakarta. So we're doing that work, and we want to improve their management capabilities so they can manage the system better. So we can do that for the long term. So we're going to transfer some technical skills. So our objective is to improve management, to change Transjakarta to a corporation, and improve the operational management of the
Do you think
organisation.
we need to replace the chief of this Transjakarta?
Do we need one?
Need to replace him?
Well, the government needs to decide, or the administrator, DKI, needs to decide who is the best person to be the CEO of the new corporation. I don't understand exactly how you appoint CEOs here in Jakarta, but Mr. Hasan Basri told me last time I met him, which was last week, that he would start the process of looking for a CEO pretty soon. And he said, do you think it's the right time? I said to him, well, if the PERDA for the BUMD are signed or approved by DPRD by June 30th, then you have 6 months to transition, and the new corporation can start on the 1st of January. So I said, from that point of view, it would probably be good to start looking for a CEO around about now, so that one is in place maybe September this year.
But look, in the meantime, though, Akbar is probably the best you can find. He's a civil servant and he's doing a good job running.
Do you think?
As a civil
do you think
servant,
this?
within the constraints of operating as a BLU. Under a BMD, it's different. Then he's running a business, and then you need to look at other candidates for running a commercial operation.
Yes. And Mr. Hasan Basri asked me, he said, well, do you think Mr. Akbar could do this? And I said, well, perhaps you should ask Mr. Akbar. Does he think he has the capacity? But you should compare him to other people. And the choice should be made by the governor about who is the best person to do the job. For now, Mr. Akbar does a very good job as the manager of the BLU, as the director. And it's a very hard job because there are a lot of issues with Transjakarta. importantly, and I say this to Mr. Hassan Basri all the time, it is very important that Mr. Akbar stays in Transjakarta through the transition period to ensure that the buses continue to operate well. So you need to have, a proper transition process. And it's important that he's there. His staff work well, they're very loyal, and he's a very good manager for what he's trying to do right now. But it's really not for me to say if he's the best or if someone is better. That's for the government to decide who is the best CEO, I think.
But maybe you can help Mr. Hassan with the criteria of the best CEO
Certainly, yes.
for this kind of
Happy to
company.
write. We would be able to write a job description for this and selection criteria if that would be helpful.
You have already?
No, we haven't written it, but we can. Yeah, that would be easy to do.
It's part of their job. They can do that.
Yeah, no problem. I'll make it. Something else to do. So our objectives are to get a better Transjakarta, a better busway. That's what India and AusAID have employed us for, and so that's what we're doing. And we have quite a big team. The team works on site with Transjakarta, with the management. We have an office there, so they're working on site all the time. So it means that we can talk to the managers about not only the planning for the future, but also what are they doing today? What's happening on the busway today? Why are you doing it the way you're doing it? Why don't you try and do it a different way? So we're trying to do ongoing business improvement as we go. So I need to take a step back and say we did about 3 months of analysis. We took a long time to have a look at the busway and try and decide, what was good, what was bad, what we thought we needed to do to fix it. And our analysis said the institution framework needs to change. Transjakarta as a BLU does not work very well. You need to make a BUMD with Transjakarta. That was a big recommendation. We know we need to do that. We say that Transjakarta they try hard. They're all trying to do a good job. All the staff are trying to do a good job. But the performance of the organisation is not as good as it could be. It doesn't work like a modern bus company should. So they need to change the way they go about. And that starts perhaps with a CEO, but certainly maybe a different management team, different business systems. They need a lot of management experience and capability improvement. We know, and you know, and I think we all know, the operational performance of Transjakarta is very poor. It doesn't do what people expect it to do. There's a lot of money spent on the busway, but the performance of the operation is very, very poor. You see bus crowding, you see customers sometimes can't get on the bus, sometimes the buses are empty. You see dissatisfied customers, people on Twitter saying, "No, my bus didn't arrive, I had to wait an hour," So
every day people complain to us.
Yes. So yes. And so that isn't just about, that's not just about Mr. Akbar and what his team are trying to do. That's about the fact that the buses can't get through the corridor very quickly at all. It's about the fact that they can't fuel properly, so the fueling infrastructure is poor. The management systems to control the busway are not very good, and the operator contracts are not very good either. So there's a lot of things that need to be improved in order to reorganise Transjakarta and make the system work properly. But we have a plan for that. We know what we need to do. Contract management is particularly important in this. The operator contracts. It's how Transjakarta can deal with the operators. It's very important that we understand that the operators can always tell Transjakarta to go away and they will do what they want. The regulations are not specific enough for this. So we're going to rewrite the operator contracts. So in the future, the new ones will be much more about a partnership between the private operator and Transjakarta, a partnership, and much more about service performance. And we think a better way to go, a better contract environment.
Okay. The draft of the law for Transjakarta to be
BUMD,
already in the local parliament.
I will tell you where that's up to in a minute. We have been working very hard. I will show you something we've been doing. I should just say here the fact that this policy the government has at the moment of adding many more buses to the busway will not improve performance in the short term. it seems like it would be a good idea. So it appears like you have not enough capacity to carry more passengers because they can't get on the bus. So the idea is you put more buses on the busway. The problem is the busway is still only a single lane. You can only get one bus down at a time. If you put many more buses on, you will just cause blockages all the way down. Customers will still complain. I was at Block M on Sunday, and we were on the platform waiting for the bus. You could look down the platform, you could see 10 buses, all queued.
Yeah.
So you can't get, on Block M, you can't get more than one bus in there at a time. You can't have 2 or 3, you can only have one. So, and the station is very small. It's very big. So you can't push them any quicker. You can't do it. So you put more buses on, they will just queue longer. Customers will still look, they will see 20 buses, they won't see 10. It won't help the problem. So you need to be, one of the things we're doing is having a look at how the government might support Transjakarta with fleet in a nice systematic way over the next 5 years. It will be part of our investment and business plan. So if you provide too many buses too quickly, it will not fix the problem. Certainly the fleet needs to increase, but not in really, really quick rates.
No, we're talking only here about Transjakarta.
Just about Transjakarta.
Other aspects of the bus system.
Not Kopaja, not Metro Mini, just the Transjakarta fleet. So we need to come back and talk to you about the investment plan, importantly, because fleet is a big part of that. So this is what we did in our analysis. And now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our work program and what some of those solutions might be. So we understand the problem, and I think everyone can see the problem. The issue is, what are we going to do about the problem? So we have 3 things that are really, really important to do. The first thing is that we need to make sure that the BUND process occurs. We need to make sure that the new corporation is formed, and we need to make sure that the rapporteur for the BUND formation go through the assembly by June 30th. Now, to do that, I've given you, you have one sheet here? Yes. Yeah. These are all the documents that we're preparing for DPRD.
Oh.
So Hassan Basri said, it's in English, I apologize, but Hassan Basri said you need to go and work with DPRD. So we're working with three yeah, his staff, yeah, Yubai and another. So they have said, what do we need to do? And we said, well, we think the PERDA are not quite strong enough. They said, oh, but all the members have already got the PERDA. And we said, well, can we revise them in some ways? And they said, okay, sure. If you can convince us that this is going to be better for Transjakarta, then let's have some revisions. So we've started revising the PERDA, and we're rewriting the regulation on tariff, regulation on SPM, regulation on public service standard. We finished the minimum service standard. Hello. Hello. Okay. How are you? We are writing the head agreement between Transjakarta and the agencies, concession contract with DISU, public works agency on the busway, on the pavement, a landscape agency for lighting, so different parts of the agreement, articles of association for the new corporation. All those ones, all those 1 to 7 agreements, our team is writing those now. Okay, so we talk to DPRD.
Finished by the end of the month.
End of the month, they will be complete.
So we could refer this.
Yes, yes. So we can meet the June 30th. Yes. So we're trying to move quickly. In order to do those, we need to do, in the blue, we need to do draft business plan. We need to do draft investment plan, very important, and draft finance plan. So the investment plan is the really big plan that you need to have a look at, I think, and people need to understand. So there is a principle here that we're trying to help people understand here in Jakarta. At the moment, you provide a recurrent subsidy of somewhere around 25 million or 30 million US dollars every year to Transjakarta. That's the ongoing subsidy. We think if you're going to have a BUND, then they should try and achieve cost recovery, so you don't have to provide that subsidy. Okay? So that's one side. But in order to do that, the government must invest in capital. Because one of the reasons, one of the problems with the busway is that the infrastructure is very poor. The infrastructure has deteriorated in the last 4 or 5 years in particular. First 4 years, not too bad. Next 4 years, it's starting to deteriorate. So we are going to provide an investment plan for you for the next 5 years to upgrade all of the busway, all of the corridors, depots, and some systems in Transjakarta. So it will be a big investment plan. It will be a lot of money. But we understand that it is easier for governments to find capital money than it is to find recurrent money. It's a better way to go. And in modern bus systems, in bus systems and transport systems all around the world, this is the way governments invest in transport systems. So we're trying to modernise the institutional framework around it.
Also a better way of keeping customers happy.
Yes, and customers like to see the shiny new depot, the shiny new bus station. They like to see the shiny new bus. They like to see, the real-time information on the platform. It's the things they can experience. Investing in infrastructure means you can improve the customer experience, and they will complain less because they can see things. It's very good, a very good strategy politically with it. But it will be a lot of money. I don't know how much yet, but it will be a lot of money.
Presumably it can be rolled out progressively, corridor by
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
5-year plan. Yeah, 5-year business plan.
For corridor,
All
corridor and
15 corridors over 5 years. Yeah. So some upgrades.
5 years is too long. He'll be vice president by then.
Well, it will be
just
so.
a new one.
The first 2 years will be so good. They will re-elect you. It'll be easy. It'll be fine. They will see, and you can say the main thing.
And Mr. Fogibo will come back to this office.
The thing with the customers though, I mean, if they know that you have a plan, if they can see what you're trying to do, and they can experience what you're trying to do on one corridor, they will say, when is it going to happen on this corridor? You can say, we have a plan. That's going to happen in 2015. That's going to happen we've made the commitment in the budget. They can
Yeah, we have a commitment in our budget for extension for the corridor become 50.
Yeah.
The last 3 is
Yes.
more expensive and difficult
Possibly.
because they're elevated
Yes.
from Ciledug.
Yeah.
But we start this year. We start this year.
Yeah. I know.
Well, they
Big
put in
program.
their part and make
You-
sure it's
you-
running
you know-
efficiently.
Better than me about Transjakarta.
Yeah. So we want to give you a better idea about the whole investment plan, all of the network, not just the new ones, but the whole network, so you know what you would have to do to upgrade it. So for example, one really important thing, if you continue to have just one lane on the big corridors, like Corridor 1, if it's only one lane, you will never improve. It doesn't matter how many buses you put on it, it can't go any quicker. It's single corridor, single pipe. Many buses just means you get pressure at either end. It won't work any better. So you have to have some passing lanes, or you have to double the lane. If the governor thought that he wanted to make a difference about public transport, and he wanted to send a message to people that he didn't want so many cars in Transjakarta, best thing he could do, I'm going to expand Transjakarta to 2 lanes on Corridor 1. Less cars, more buses. You have to make sure you have enough buses to travel, so you can really put a lot of people
So
down.
they have maybe 3 minutes or 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So you take a lane of traffic out. It
And
sends,
we have to
it sends
extend-
a big message.
Or have to extend our
They have to extend the stations. You have to rebuild the stations. so they can perform. They have to all be bigger.
Itu bisa swasta mau bantu kok bisa
Pak itu Pak kalau
langsung
mau
extend.
di-extend ke situ.
Yeah,
Extend.
the infrastructure plan will show the extension for all the stations.
But
You
very,
need to be able to get 2 or
but
3.
very extreme. You said you take 2 lines.
Yeah, it is extreme. Yeah, it's very brave if the government decided to do it. It would be a
Maybe
brave
to
decision.
cut, if corridor 1, if we cut the green zone, have from 3 years in Jalur Lambat kan, there's a
A little bit.
I think
Not much.
in some cases you can.
many trees.
So
Pak, sebetulnya tahun 2006 itu sudah ditambah 1 jalur lagi. Kalau Bapak lihat di Tamrin,
Dipotong ya?
Iya, dipotong sebelah. Jadi
Iya.
dulunya memang 3 lane kan, diambil 1 sudah ditambah 1 lagi.
Jadi 4 lane.
Itu. Sekarang sebetulnya 4 lane, tapi 1 untuk busway. Artinya yang mixed traffic itu memang tetap 3 lane di Sudirman.
Nah, soalnya kalau yang jalur hijau kita potong, itu tambah tuh. Jadi lambat sama cepat tuh nggak ada lagi di luar negeri. Ya kan?
yang di Sudirman.
Iya kan?
Iya.
Harusnya nggak ada lagi bisa kan dibuang
Bisa.
itu kan.
Cuma resikonya si motor ini bisa pelanggaran gitu Pak. Ini yang
Pelanggaran motor mungkin.
disiplin Pak.
How do you think about we ban motorcycle get in this corridor one?
Well, yes, you could do that too.
That's what they do.
I mean, that's.
By
I mean,
In Beijing,
you incentivize people to use the busway. You make sure you've got enough capacity on the busway. Then you make sure you've got enough buses on the busway, good stations. It looks flat, you know, it works well. And then you have rules about how much traffic. So you disincentivize people to use their cars and motorbikes, and you incentivize people to use the public transport.
Tapi sayang juga ya hijau dibuang gitu ya. Karena bagus ya hijau, it's green.
Persentase jalur hijau kita kurang Pak. Dulu waktu yang lebarin ini Pak, awalnya yang turun Pak.
Iya.
Protes Pak. Agak berarti waktu ini.
Berat ya.
But you also need a lot of the problems with the busway is at intersections, you know, because you have mixed traffic at the intersections. So we need to have plans for the major intersections and how you can get through them. Sometimes, you know, we would recommend some bus priority signals. Sometimes you might need to build an overpass. It depends. So we will come up with intersection improvement for each intersection on each corridor where it is impeding the busway flow. So this will be with some options. We will show our best option. People can decide how they would like to deal with it. I mean, it's a public works. Would be interested. Everyone will have an opinion. What we will do is say, here's our investment plan. This is what we think the best intersection treatment is, and then we will proceed from there. So we can get into some, you know, robust argument about which is the best treatment. But you know, it's money. You know, sometimes the treatments are expensive, sometimes not so expensive, so it just depends. But there needs to be intersection treatment on all the corridors to make the buses flow better. It's clear. So we would recommend that in a couple of weeks' time we have...
That is a different issue from how the services are paid for. So giving an operator a license to operate a service doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make any sort of financial arrangement. You pay him to run the service or anything like that. And as Tori mentioned just now, at the moment, all of the non-transjakarta bus services, and that includes everything from the big buses right down to the Bajaj, the Ojek, they're not subsidised. They're providing a service and they're paying for themselves. If they weren't paying for themselves, they would cease to operate. So it's self-funded. It's not a very good service, as I've said, but it's also run very inefficiently. So if you improve the efficiency of the service, with the right type of vehicles operated in the right way, efficiently, organised properly, there's no excess capacity, at similar fares, and some fares may have to be increased, I admit that, but not very much. But similar fares to what are being charged at the moment, it should be possible to operate that service without any sort of subsidy. And the operators can make a profit. So the licensing system, I think, should be geared to making sure that services are provided to a reasonable standard, which can be self-financing. Fare structures have to be looked at, and again that's something else that we need to address. The route structure as well, which is partly influenced by the present flat fare system, that needs to be revised. So there's a whole lot of things that need to be done to make this possible. But they can be done with, as I say, going back, restructuring the industry, getting the right types of vehicles, rearranging the route system in line with passenger demand, ensuring that service capacity is geared to demand. It's not excessive, but there's no shortage. Routes are sensible, the fare structures appropriate, fare levels are appropriate. You've got a ticketing system which can handle a more complicated fare structure. You do away with the present set-around system, which is very crude as a means of controlling revenue, and which makes it impossible to control services properly. All of these things have to be changed. But if you do that, and it's done properly, which is a very major proviso, then, as I say, virtually all of the public transport services can be provided to a good standard and without any need for a government subsidy. And the main regulatory requirement is simply to manage the licensing system effectively, enforce all the licensing conditions, and as I say, the service should operate with minimal financial support.
Can I try? You give the impression that you need to change everything, which sounds like a huge task. But this could be done incrementally. You can do one corridor.
But you agree about we give a free for the passenger of the Kopaja when they get in the Transjakarta?
That's the rule of the ticketing system, Pak.
That's not a good idea.
I'll be very clear about this. I understand that the concept that we've been talking about, there's a concept.
They became like a feeder.
Service integration, yes. Richard and I have considered this, and we both agree that in the short term, meaning the next 3 to 5 years, there should be no Kapaja type buses, medium-sized buses, coming onto the busway at all. I'm very, very, very strong on this. All you will do is add more confusion to the busway. You'll have to put 3 lanes on the busway to make this work. You will just fill it up with little buses that no one can catch properly. So we don't think this is a very good idea at all. ITDP thinks this is a very good idea.
Yeah.
We have told IDB we do not agree with this. We do not agree with this now. You need to make the busway work with proper articulated buses. Big buses carrying lots of people as quickly as you can. Get it working properly, 3 to 4 years, and then think about service integration. In the meantime, where you have a Kapaja bus route, like on Tamarind or Sudirman, for example, and you have Transjakarta, you run them in parallel. One on the curb side and Transjakarta. Yeah, with many stops and 116 stops for corridor 1 for Transjakarta. You run them in parallel. You run the MRT underneath. You fill it up. You fill up all of it. Plenty of people to use it. But if you put the little buses, the medium-sized buses, on the busway, you will just make it confused.
Well, as we say, the busway can take about 100 buses an hour.
No, yeah.
And that doesn't matter what size. So if you've got 100 small buses,
you can't carry so many people.
but you can have 100 big buses and carry
lots of people.
But also the BRT, R is for rapid. Rapid means you have a fast moving bus and fast interface. Meaning rapidnya itu di itu loh Pak, di stationnya itu orang tuh naik turunnya itu dalam waktu kecepatan yang sama dengan MRT.
Jadi lebih cocok we extend the station.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Extend station and we put more articulated bus.
That will be in the investment plan.
Karena
So we have to get out the Kopaja.
Well, we don't think it's a good idea for now. Like for the next 3 or 4 years, we think you need to do, as Richard has been saying, a better network plan for all your Kapaja to do an integration where so people can come and choose which bus they want to take. They catch a good quality Kapaja, or they might want to catch a big articulated bus on the BRT, or maybe they want to catch the MRT. Whichever they get to choose, but integrating them
What
like.
do you mean with the good network integrations? Is it parallel?
As Richard, well, in some cases parallel, in some cases intersect. It depends. You know, there's a big network, 12,000 buses. Richard's looked at this, so he knows that you need a better plan to run the smaller buses around Jakarta through the small streets and integrate at the right points with the BRT network. If you like to think of it, the BRT network is the backbone of the network. You know, it's the big core corridor network. But it should just be for big buses, move as many people quickly as possible. The next size, and Richard is suggesting a bigger size bus, it goes all over Jakarta. So you need to, the integration
So
is
how
where-
about the feeder bus? Feeder bus still the same.
Yeah, I
Well,
think-
some feeder buses will be big ones, some will be small. It'll all depend on which route it is. I mean, another sort of misconception is that all Kapaja and Metro minibuses should be the same size. And, because they have been for some time. But in fact, a lot of the routes, or most of the routes that those operators are running, should be run by bigger buses. Some are okay with small buses, but there's no reason why Kapaja shouldn't have a lot of big buses, some medium-sized buses, and even some microlets. I mean, all their buses don't have to be the same.
Demands on the demand and the roadway.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Every route has its particular characteristics.
The best network is the network that can serve the people, the demand efficiently.
Also, if you're going to put the new Kapaja type buses on the busway, they all need to be designed with high floor, middle door. So that means that you have many doors on a small bus, not so many seats. So you can get so many people on. Very expensive to build. So we don't think it's very good economic.
No reason why Kapaja shouldn't operate on the busway, but with the right vehicles. I mean, if it had vehicles of the right.
So if they want to invest in like that, they have to maybe
they could be one of the attractors on the busway.
Yeah.
It's like a feeder bus.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily a feeder bus.
Bigger the better on the bus.
The capacity.
Yeah, I mean, Kapaja could buy the right sort of articulated buses, and it could bid for one of the.
Or double-deckers.
They could consortia. They could take a route.
No reason why not.
No, why not? Why not?
So you have more than 15,000 buses small. Why they should comply to Transjakarta with the high floor? That's only have more for maximum 3,000 buses for the whole 15 corridors. Better for you to extend the stations with the high and low floor. For
Also,
instance.
it's not just extending the stations. One of the problems is the bridges. For passengers, it is a great inconvenience to get off a Metro Mini or a Kapaja and go all over the pump to get off the thing. There's no reason for many, even heavily traffic corridors, to have at-grade signals.
Like
Stop
Imonas.
traffic, let them cross,
Investment
people carry on.
Like
You don't delay the traffic much because there's a jam up ahead anyway. But you allow passengers
sometimes
straight
walk across. Give options to people, you know. Sometimes it's not so safe, but sometimes it's okay. So you give options to people. And bridges are very expensive to maintain. So easier to have a crossing like at Monas. You know, at Monas it's okay.
It works.
You know, it works. So sometimes a good quality at-grade intersection is just as good as a big expensive bridge.
I think now I have to make another meeting. Now we decide to wait for this PERDA, the draft of this PERDA.
Yes.
We make this become BUMD first.
Yes.
After that, we increase the capital in this.
Would you like me to come back and talk about the investment plan so you can see what? Yes. Okay.
In June, all this will be finished.
Yeah, after this,
Can
we
we start
want
to break
to
you on
know how the local parliament comment about this.
Yeah.
But we'll talk to them.
Yes.
So they agree. All of the parliament members agree about this plan.
They will agree more if we can show how this stops the subsidies from increasing.
Aku geser.
Sedikit Pak, kemarin sedikit udah ketemu ketua komisi B Pak.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've talked to them. They agree about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, informal talk meeting with them. They agree.
Okay.
I think after this we have to know about the total planning, investment planning.
Yes. Well, I can give you the investment plan for the BRT in about 2 weeks. So if you'd like to see that and look at the money, because we will.
Maybe we ask Pak Akbar join too.
Oh,
we want to know
Yes. I talk to him all the time.
if he could make this become CEO in this company is more better. He know from the beginning.
It depends. Yeah.
Then we hire from outside.
Yeah.
But we have to maybe talk with him.
Yes. See
So
what he
maybe I
prefers.
could tell Mr. Governor what's going on.
We should come back and talk with Hassan Badri and Pak Akbar and talk about investments because it's very important on the BRT. It's the primary thing. It's the really important thing. So in about 2 weeks, a little bit more, early June, 2 weeks time, we'll make a time. We can have whoever and we can talk about the investment plan. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Just stay here. I just want to move.
No, it's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, just stay.
Okay. I think it's
Yeah,
I lost your card.
Yeah.
Oh, you have mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Masih.
I think that.
Yeah, just
Thank you.
have another day.